So moving forward a little bit in your life, so you've had success in many competitions, like I mentioned before with the Menuin and Isang Yun, among others. I'm curious, what is your preparation process like getting ready for a competition like that? And how does programming pieces fall in that whole process?
Yeah, so I'd say every competition is kind of different depending on what's going on at the time. You mentioned Isang Yun, and that one was particularly crazy because it was during COVID.
Mm,
So all non-Korean citizens were required to quarantine for 2 weeks. So
mm.
I was just stuck in a room, like by myself. I had this like narrow strip that I would just walk back and forth for exercise and basically practicing all day. So that was a very unique condition, um, like condition for competition prep. Um, but so either sometimes it'll be like that where I have nothing to do but practice, but more often I'd be a little more busy and have other concerts going on, other things to prepare for, and honestly, I really prefer that.
Mm,
Um, just because I feel like it takes the pressure off the single competition. If you're just gearing towards one thing and you're like building it up in your head,
mm,
um, and it just makes things very difficult mentally. So I like keeping myself busy and um, performing all sorts of different rep that's not just what I'm playing for the competition. But
mm,
in terms of repertoire for the competition, you know, many times, most often, the competitions will have required repertoire, and then sometimes they'll have free repertoire like free choice. And um, I just like to round out the program nicely, see what they require and what I might bring to the table that shows my personality, just music that I love. I think that
mm.
is really what makes things the most honest, the most genuine, and helps me give the best performance that I can give. And I have like a wish list that I refer to of pieces that I want to play if I'm in a rut. So
Mm. I'm curious what's on that wish list. Is it a combination of sonatas and different short pieces or
yeah, it's kind of a hodgepodge of things. I have like Bartok solo sonata on there.
Mm.
I have this one encore piece that I heard someone play that was really cool called Funk the String. It's like this
Okay.
rock piece. So yeah, just a bunch of different things, and
Mm,
just helps me when I'm trying to. And I do some research and listen to what other people are playing that sound interesting and
mhm.
speak to me. So.
Yeah. And I mean, because obviously these competitions are such high pressure settings, there's a psychological side to these events. Um, how do you prepare yourself mentally, like in terms of do you just try to get in performance mode by like playing for a lot of people before competitions? Like, what is it? What's your regimen like in order to get ready?
Yeah, definitely playing for people um, helps. I've I actually took a performance psychology class this past semester, and that's been really interesting. And I've been kind of getting into like sports psychology because it's really a sport what we do. It's like
Yeah.
it's an artistic sport, um, but really like the mentality is very similar of performance mode. Um, and so I've learned a lot from that, and I try to I think when things get nerve wracking for me in competition is when it feels like a competition. When I get in my head about what other people are thinking of me or how
Mhm.
other people might perceive me or my playing, um, and then it really becomes not about the music and it's not
Mhm.
about giving to other people.
Yeah.
So I think always keeping my head on straight in terms of that really helps, and just try to keep relaxed and keep excited because it should be something that you're excited about, and your body reacts in that way when you're on stage because um, yes, you could see it as nerves, but you could also just see it as excitement, and it's like it's meant to happen. It's natural.
Right.
And it's in a way I like looking at it kind of like I'm in like superpower mode, and my body's like it's just like everything is heightened and all my senses are
Yeah.
heightened, and it's just preparing me to perform.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I'm it was funny because I ran into a video that Hans Jensen posted today where he was trying to differentiate between practice mind and performance mind. And I think for a lot of us as musicians, it's really hard because we're when we're practicing, we're obviously overly critical of everything that we do, but then it's hard to turn that part of our brain off when we're performing. And I think just being able to, basically have like a switch when we're performing is so critical to the success of the performance oftentimes. So,
Definitely, and even like the environment, um, you're in like a tiny practice room, sometimes like in a basement with no windows, and it just like feels very isolating when you're practicing. And then all
right.
of a sudden you're on stage and it's huge and it's all
Yeah.
ringing, the acoustics are different. So I find it very helpful to also like when I'm playing or running through for people before a competition or concert to perform in as big a space as I can,
Mm-hmm.
and even to practice in a big space. Like I know like maybe it's taboo or like some people like to play in a super dry room or something like that,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think that can be really good for like hearing certain things, but I don't like to do that too much personally just because play practice in as big a room as I can, just so that the transition from practice to on stage is not so jarring.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's interesting. You said that sorry,
It's okay.
function. Um that's interesting. So you said for the Isang Yun competition you were like you had to get there 2 weeks before and just quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so wow, like how did you keep yourself from going insane during that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it honestly it went by faster than I thought it would.
Mhm.
I don't know. It was a very interesting experience. I hadn't been back to Korea. I went once when I was 13 years old, so this is like my first time as an adult going by myself.
Mhm.
So that was a really fun, but it was definitely an interesting thing to go during COVID. Um, but it really like I look back and I'm like, did that really happen? It just like seemed against all odds. So I feel so grateful for Isang Yun.
Yeah.